Hello everyone, Jeremy Sanford here, your personal growth coach, and today's topic is being forged in the fire. Many of us, we know all about fire. As a matter of fact, a lot of us have the testimony that we have actually gone through the fire. Being forged in the fire really speaks to the adversity that each and every one of us have to go through. Unfortunately, no matter our age, background, where we came from, none of us are exempt from trouble. But being forged in the fire just speaks to the adversity that we go through that actually makes us better. Fire. We've all seen and experienced fire in some type of way. And we all know the destructive characteristics of fire when it is unleashed and unbridled. We see the forest fires in California and different places. We know what fire can do. But I have found that fire has some positive characteristics. Fire has a way of refining us and transforming us in a very profound way. So on today, I want to talk about being forged in the fire. Being forged in the fire is something that even some of the most influential and successful people have experienced. I think about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein is considered to be one of the greatest scientists of all time. And we probably feel like it came with ease. But did you know that Albert Einstein as a child was recognized as having a learning disability? Did you know that he had very difficult time getting through school, and he also in his early adult years had difficulties getting and even maintaining a job? But he went through the fire, he went through the adversity, he persevered and became one of the greatest scientists of all time. Not just him, but people like Nelson Mandela. He had to go through the fire as well. Nelson Mandela was a civil rights activist in South Africa, and because of his stance, he was imprisoned for several decades. Nelson Mandela could have given up, but because of his determination and willingness to fight through and to persevere, Nelson Mandela was forged in the fire, and he went through the fire and came out as the first president of South Africa. I even think about people like Oprah Winfrey. We see her success, but we don't actually know her story. Did you know that Oprah Winfrey had to go through the fire? She had to go through the fire because as a child, she was abused by family, people within her community, and a lot of people put her down while she was a child. But she persevered, she went through the fire, and as a result, she became one of the greatest talk show hosts of all time. I wanted to remind you on today that the fire is not something that you should avoid. It's actually something that can make you better and will make you better. Just on last year, I was forged in the fire. Not only was I forged in the fire, my wife was forged in the fire. We had just gotten married in 2023, and we were excited, newlyweds, as newlyweds should be. We were excited about, just getting married. Shortly after we had been married a few months, we got some good news that we were expecting our first child. We were so excited. We were so excited about the possibilities of having a child and being able to share memories with them and teach this young baby how to grow up and be a successful member of society. So there we were. We went to our first doctor's appointment. Things were great. We found out that we were having a baby girl. Absolutely. We were having a baby girl, and we decided that we were going to name her Marielle Grace. Marielle Grace Sanford was going to come into the world, and she was going to be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby, and we were excited about it. We were going to our doctor's appointments. We were excited as she began to grow. It was so exciting seeing the ultrasound and being able to see her move all over the place and seeing her heartbeat and all these different things. Things were going great. But then the unthinkable happened. We went to a doctor's appointment, and when we went to the doctor's appointment, they were doing their usual ultrasound, and the doctor was looking a bit puzzled. They began to do the ultrasound, they continued to do the ultrasound, and then they said something that made our hearts drop. The doctor looked over at my wife and said, "Miss Sanford, I'm sorry to inform you, but we can't find a heartbeat." In that moment, it felt as if the world was on my shoulders. It felt like the weight of the world had fallen down. And there my wife was with tears running down her face. She looked up at the doctor and she said, Can you just try one more time? Can you just check one more time?" The doctor said, "Absolutely, no problem at all." She began to check one more time for the baby's heartbeat, and then she put the instrument down and she said, "I'm so sorry for your loss." My wife began to cry, I began to cry, and in that moment, it was a moment that could have literally broke us. A lot of times when couples go through situations like that, they blame each other, and it can be something that can literally divide the both of you. But in that moment, we embraced one another. In that moment, we held on to one another. And it was that situation that caused our marriage to actually come together in a stronger way. We learned in that moment the value of life and how you cannot be guaranteed that life, that you will have a child, or that you will have these types of blessings and miracles. And I want to tell someone today that if you do have a child, value them. Understand that it is a miracle from God that you were given the opportunity to raise a child. It's not something that everybody has an opportunity to have, so value your child. So in that moment, it could have been something that tore us apart, but it was actually something that forged us together. It was something that brought us together. I will never forget that particular day. I will never forget how it made me feel. I will never forget the magnitude of that weightiness that was upon me. But I found that it helped my marriage, it helped my perspective of life, and it helped me to learn how to give God the glory no matter what. You see, it's easy to thank God when He gives you new stuff. But the question is, can you give God praise when what He allows you to experience is not ideal? As a matter of fact, it's something that is quite painful. So I learned so many lessons throughout that situation. And on today, my wife and I, we're in a wonderful place because of what we had to go through. It took time to heal from that situation. We had a stillbirth. Our baby was over 6 months old when we got that news that she had passed away. It was a difficult situation to go through, but God brought us through in a mighty way. He allowed us to go through the fire, and we came out better than we were than when we went in. God blessed us, God healed us, He made us whole. And I came to report today that God has blessed us to have a baby boy on this year. We were forged in the fire, but God blessed us that we didn't lose hope. But God blessed us to get pregnant again, and now we have a beautiful baby boy by the name of Jeremiah. And we are so excited that he is here. But had we given up, had we blamed others and talked about that we'll never be able to have a child, we wouldn't be at the place that we are today. What am I saying? I'm simply saying that when you go through difficult times, recognize that that difficult time is going to actually make you better. Recognize that just because you're going through does not mean that that's the end of your story. A lot of times it's just one chapter. So be encouraged today. And remember, you may feel the pressure, you may feel the fire, you may feel the heat, but you can't die until your purpose is complete. God has something in store for you. God has you going through certain situations not to hurt you, not to have you in a constant state of pain. It is because He wants to develop you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been forged in the fire. Most likely you've been forged in the fire. But if you're going through something today, don't give up. It's just one chapter in the book, in your book of life, in your complete story. Don't give up. God has great things for you. You're probably just being forged in the fire. Again, this is Jeremy Sanford, your personal growth coach, and I hope this message resonated with you and was helpful in your walk in this life.